Now, they say sharing is caring, and recent years have spawned a number of companies that can prove it.
Yes, from renting out our homes to offering others rides in our cars. We're sharing our resources more than ever before, and everyone seems to be reaping the benefits.
Yet, whilst Airbnb and Uber are now in everyone's vocabulary, new disruptors are still entering the sharing economy. But this next company, JustPark, was founded way back in 2006. It's UK-based, and it's shaking up the way we park our cars.
Yeah, I'm delighted to say its founder and chief executive joins us now. Good to have you with us. I mean, it's been going for a few years now. Does it look like people are happy to share out their driveways as much as they are their cars and their spare rooms?
Absolutely. In fact, renting out a driveway is obviously a lot safer than renting out a room. You're just letting someone access to your sort of external property. Over 50,000 people have rented out their underutilised parking spaces over the years and continue to do so. In fact, over 3,000 people every single month are listing their driveway for rent on JustPark.
That's interesting. Yeah, go on.
As you say, it's interesting because if you look at the trends among how people travel, fewer people want to own their own car. More people want to either ride share or use car hire schemes. Yep. So if that bit of the sharing economy takes off, does that not mean inevitably JustPark has a limited future?
So what's interesting, as Sally said, we've been running over 10 years now. And when we first started, it was all about helping drivers find the most convenient and affordable parking space close to wherever they're going. And we do that for about 4 million drivers now. But actually what we're seeing now over coming years is actually a change in the way our network of spaces are used. So we have 20, 30,000 different locations up and down the country. And actually there's a JustPark space within 200 metres of over 70% of London, as an example. So at the moment, those spaces are created to serve today's parking needs. But as we move on and mobility changes, and actually we're going probably through, over the next decade, the biggest change in sort of transport that we've seen maybe since the invention of the motor car, then how does our network of space help facilitate these new mobility services, such as scooter parking, bike parking? You know, you see these bikes and scooters, clustered on pavements and causing, huge hazards. Well, they'll need parking spaces. Shared cars, we already work with all the shared car providers, and they are using JustPark to place their vehicles in convenient places to be used.
You started this in 2006, is that right?
Yes, correct.
You were 23 years old. It was your idea. How did that work?
So I was fortunate enough that I did a placement while I was at university in San Francisco, California, Berkeley. And when I was visiting some friends over there, I was going to a baseball game and I couldn't find somewhere to park, the same problem so many of us have on a day-to-day basis. And I just sort of made a flippant comment to my friend, wouldn't it be great if I could park in that empty driveway right next to the stadium? I didn't do so, but I came home, sort of quit my job after 6 weeks and built, the very first version of JustPark back then.
How do you turn that idea and that comment to a friend into a business, a successful business that's growing?
The way I talk to anyone who wants an aspiring entrepreneur is, how do you come up with that first idea? For me, ideas are firstly the easy bit, but think about all the different problems you face on a day-to-day basis. Just walking down the street, have a notepad and take a little note of everything that annoys you, everything that you think could be made a little bit better. These are all problems that require solutions. Some are obviously commercially viable, but coming up with that idea, I taught myself how to code. I learned how to sort of do digital marketing and everything else, and then ultimately I just sort of had enough passion and ambition to build it.
But back then in 2006, peer-to-peer lending or borrowing or sharing was a very, very new idea. So you probably had many barriers from that perspective.
So the sharing economy didn't exist really, but what did exist were marketplaces. So I didn't maybe learn from Airbnb, but I did learn from eBay, which ultimately had a demand-supply marketplace, and I looked at the way that business ran with reviews and ratings, and I learned from what worked for eBay and applied it to JustPark, so to connect, obviously demand and supply and drivers and space owners.
Anthony, really interesting to get your thoughts. And I have to say, the idea of taking a little notebook and jotting down things that irritate you or make life difficult, I mean, you'd need reams and reams of A4 if you're going to do that, frankly.
Are you saying there's a lot that annoys you, Ben? Is that what you're revealing?
Some days. Anthony Eskinazi, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.